tell me what the difference between a rotor wing and a fixed wing is? You got that. You can do it. Rotor wing is a helicopter. Yeah. There you go. And so a fixed wing would obviously be a airplane. Yeah. So we do flight training for both. Helicopter training is done in Caldwell with our partner from Silverhawk, and Alicia's going to talk to you about that in a minute. And we do almost all of the fixed wing airplane training right here in Ontario as part of the degree. So we start with private pilot training, and you'll do that in one of the two. We call those pipelines. You would choose which aircraft you think you want to fly as a career, for starters. And then private pilot, commercial, instrument, and flight instructor ratings, all in 2 years. So when you get done, you'll have about 250 hours of flying time. And in order to fly for a commercial operator or an airline, they require about 1,500 hours, what we call pilot in command. So in order to build that time, the quickest way, it's not the only way, but a very quick way, is to be a flight instructor. And we hire a lot of our students to be our flight instructors. They go right to work. They'll start out flying basically full-time with students, and it's not unusual to get 500 to 600 hours a year. So if you do the quick math on that, about 3 years, you're ready to go from being a flight instructor right on into the next level of your career, commercial or government or airline, whatever you choose to go to.
So I just want to mention here, we have a slideshow showing photos from our instructors and our students. Those are all taken from TVCC, Silverhawk, and then we do have a couple like this one that are graduates that have sent photos, or we catch them. But with the helicopter program, it is a bit different than the airplane program. It's 18 months, so it's a year and a half. You can start in the fall, in late September, or in the spring, which is late March, early April. So you have 2 terms where you can enroll. And how that process works is you would just start by contacting Julie or myself, and we would chat with you about any questions, concerns. Concerns with eyesight's one of them. But after that, you would do a discovery flight. And the discovery flight, it takes an hour to complete. It's half an hour of ground instruction, which is, it means that you're doing a quick lesson or a safety briefing, and then you go out and do a half an hour flight. And during that flight, the pilot beside you does the takeoff and landing, but you do the flying in between that. So it's just something that if you're comfortable, they'll hand over the controls. If you're a little nervous or you don't want to quite do that yet, then they can fly for you. But it's just something to show you what the lesson's like. And also you get to use that half an hour of flight time, and you get to put it in your logbook if you were to start later. So it's useful too. But after the discovery flight is when you would go get a medical. The medical is what you need to have in your pocket at all times when you're flying. What they go through is your current health, eyesight, your hearing, medications, and then they look at your medical history, and specifically they look at if you've ever had a seizure, if you randomly faint. I mean, things like that they will look into. Last thing is your criminal record. So if you are going into aviation, it's just something for all ages to keep a clean record. And so if you do have any concerns, first stop I would do for if you are interested, get a medical. It's $60 and it's pretty quick. The examiner, we have one at the airport that's, he does them really fast. He's a pilot too. So we have recommendations for you. But the medical, get that afterwards. Then you would start looking, or during this time, looking at loans. Financial aid is a great place to start, and then if your parents have military benefits, you could utilize those. And then the last thing is student loans. So we have a lot of options. You just chat with us and we could talk about which one's best for you. And then a few documents and you're ready. I do recommend with books, you do have to get those before you start training. If you get them a little bit before you start, then you can begin the studying, learning the acronyms, the lingo that aviation has. And so that way you can feel a little bit more prepared for the flight training. Something I do like to discuss is the flight training. It's very exciting. Aviation is exciting, and it's changing all the time. But it is something that when you start training, you should just know it's a challenge. Learning how to fly is a challenge, and that's done on purpose because we want you to be safe, comfortable pilots ready for the real world. So when you start with training, it's a lot of flying. You're flying your first week of class, you're flying 3 to 4 days a week after you start, and you get your hours very quickly, but it is something that we prepare you if you were to finish and you got a job with us, with TVCC, with another company, that you know how to handle aircraft, you know how to wash aircraft. It's something that other schools actually, some of them don't teach. So that way you're comfortable, and then if you have your own recreational aircraft, you know how to take care of it. And so that is something that you learn through while you're going through training. And if you ever have questions, concerns, anything, talk to your instructor, talk to fellow classmates, but also you can talk with us anytime. So you do have resources, and we're here for you. So once you do graduate, the industry is very diverse for both airplanes and helicopters. You don't not just airlines. You can go into tours, you can go into utility work. A lot of individuals, their goal is life flight, EMS and firefighting. Search and rescue and law enforcement, not huge in our area just because we don't have that much crime, which is awesome, but we just don't have the need for that. But even like news gathering, if you want to live in a bigger city, we have a few graduates in New York City that do news gathering. There's a lot of options. And same with airplane. I mean, we have a list of them in the flyers, and so you can get creative. If you want to start with airlines, pay off your loans, and maybe it's not for you, then you could do charters, you could do, so many other things like Ron was talking about.